are now listening to the most talked about blog talk radio station in the universe. Walk in his ways, Impact Voice Radio. Be prepared to have your mind stimulated, your spirit elevated in ways you couldn't even imagine. Introducing your host and the mastermind behind this unforgettable experience, Ferman Jackson Jr. You will not be disappointed. Let's go!
On this lovely Tuesday. Hey, what's up, everybody? We want to welcome everybody to another edition of Walk in His Ways Impact Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Ferman Jackson Jr., broadcasting once again from Dallas, Texas, Big D, EFW, you know it, along with my fam, the team, of course. We got Kenny Primetime with us from Old Spring, Mississippi, and then we got the girl herself, Anna C, from my hometown of Mobile, Alabama, and then, of course, we got the lovely, full of energy, Coach Shae from right here in Dallas, Texas. And tonight's episode, we're talking about how high achievers and mediocrity don't mix. That slogan came from, of course, Nick Saban. Roll Tide, of course. Now I got to throw it out there. Even though I live here in Dallas, I'm still that Bama boy. I'm still Roll Tide all day, but I got to roll my Cowboys too. So I'm very excited about tonight. We got a special guest, Mr. Rodney Watson II. He was on here last week with us on the Blueprint episode, and we're having a Q&A conversation with him tonight. We're going to be talking about legacy, changing the game. We're going to be talking about work ethic. We're going to be talking about all that good stuff that some of y'all ain't ready to do yet because y'all wished upon the star, and you still ain't made no moves yet. We are already in what? The 7th month. It's the 12th day of July 2022. What have you accomplished so far? Are you still mediocre or are you towards the high achiever role? And that's what we're going to go into tonight. This ain't to make you feel bad, but it's to challenge you and say, you know what, let me step my game on. We're very proud to have Mr. Rodney Watson with us. Help us all elevate ourselves, step by game. Look, there's always room for improvement. But before we get off into the Q&A conversation, we got a few bills to pay. Of course, we got Coach Shae with the entertainment news. We got Kenny Primetime with the sports news. But we're going to kick it off with some entertainment news because Coach says she's got some tea she want to share. So, Coach Shae, take away with the latest entertainment news.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be back. I missed last week, so y'all got some like real catching up to do right quick. So, first in news, I know y'all have been waiting on Cardi B to drop some new music. She decided to drop some new music, but it's nothing like y'all is used to. She said her fans didn't really like that she didn't come off sluttish this time. She came on some breaking it off like some old Mia X type of situation. So it was kind of hardcore rap. Like she did like different rap. It wasn't regular Cardi B. I like it. I get tired of hearing the same thing. So I like it. I like her feature. I think Kanye messed it up. If y'all want to go check it out, it's called Hot-ish. Since we on air, I don't want to use profanity. But that's what it's called. So definitely going to go check out Cardi B new her song. Also, Meek Mill shook the Rock Nation, y'all. Meek Mill shook the Rock Nation. Internet was going crazy. Twitter was going crazy about Meek leaving Rock Nation. Now he left, but he said it was in his best interest. He said that I'm personally handling my own business so that I can take risk and grow. And he said that him and Jigga, they talked about this. They discussed it. So y'all can relax. Yes, he's gone, but he's going on to future endeavors. He's wanting to grow, y'all. So this is an agreement that they've had. So he still has his labels with his other artists still signed to Rock Nation. So they still working. He's just not working directly. So now they finna be working on some other things. And they have like some philanthropy type of things that they doing as well, like working on Florida. They're doing some type of reformation. So y'all definitely, I'll keep y'all updated about that as well, because they're trying to do some reforming. That's gonna be very interesting. So Jay-Z and Meek Mills, they coming together and they finna cause this big movement. So stay on the lookout for this big movement, y'all. In other news, 55-year-old R. Kelly is looking to spend probably the rest of his life in jail, y'all. They gave R. Kelly, the Pied Piper of R&B, Mr. Trapped in the Closet himself, 30 years. He's facing 30 years due to these racketeering charges and sex trafficking charges. If you guys have been keeping updated, R. Kelly kind of been going through this since like 2008. With his allegations, facing these allegations. Also, it has been clarified that he is legally married to the young Jocelyn Savage. Legally, he's still married to her, y'all. It's crazy. They just now finding out, but this man has been sentenced to 30 years. And he's married to Jocelyn legally. They are trying to get his sentence lessened, so it's probably gonna go up for another trial, another type of appeal, because they really like 30 years is egregious. I feel like they're gonna just try to make an example out of him, kind of like they did Bill Cosby. He gonna have to do some time, and then they're gonna go, let it go for trial again, and he might get out on good behavior or something. We don't know. We just hoping that this little baby senior citizen be able to get out. I think, me personally, if y'all watching this on YouTube, definitely let me know what you think. I think personally that the parents should have been tried too when it came to this situation. I feel like the parents were just as responsible as sex trafficking their own children. When I watched the documentary and the Surviving R. Kelly and all this on Netflix, I seen a lot of discrepancies with these stories. When it came to these young girls, a lot of the young girls, to me, I perceived them as groupies and R. Kelly fans. So I didn't see, and a lot of them was like 16, 17. They was coming into the knowledge of themselves. So, and once they told their mamas that they was going on tour with R. Kelly at that age, the mama should have been asking more questions. So I still kind of put the parents in the mix. The parents kind of still should have been tried too, because if they can still bring it up now and it's not old, then the parents still can be tried and it's not old. Also, July the 8th, Chris Brown dropped an album called Breezy. And y'all, I am the biggest Chris Brown fan, and I didn't even know he was going to drop an album. So, with that being said, nobody else really did either. And he was pissed. He was so mad. His sales was like at the lowest that he's ever had since he dropped the album, y'all. And he is heated. He's like, y'all didn't show me no love. I feel like it's because Chris has been in the news a lot lately. He have had a lot of things going on, and people is kind of tired of supporting his behavior. And I think that's kind of why this album didn't really go as much as he planned. It does include the single "Warm Embrace." I checked it out today because like I said, I'm a fan, and I had no idea he dropped the album. I checked it out today. It was nice. I liked the album. So y'all definitely go check out Chris Breezy album. Give him some playtime because he was throwing a fit. That's all I have for you guys on the tea today.
Appreciate you, Coach Shae, with the latest entertainment news and update that's going on in our world. Like I said, we welcome everybody once again to another edition here of Walking This Way's Impact Boys podcast. Of course, it's Tuesday. We thank everybody for tuning in with us right now. Live streaming, as we live stream right now on Facebook Live, of course. Man, get those likes up, get those shares up, get those comments up. Big shout out to everybody that's in the comment section right now, those that's watching, tuning in, sharing, of course. And of course, we know we got football season month, because we know training camp is coming up for the football players, college and pros. I'm looking forward to football season. I love football. That's one of my favorite sports. I like basketball, but I'm mostly into the football, of course. I never played, but I just love it. Also, we got the coach himself. He is a previous head coach, and he has coached before, and so he's bringing expertise to the endless world of sports. And we got the man himself, the king of Mississippi himself, Mr. Kenny Primetime Williams. Welcome back, my brother. I know you was under the weather. You're looking good, looking fresh. And hey, we welcome you back to the podcast. So kick it off with that sports news.
Oh man, what a wonderful intro, man. I do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to be back here with you this evening. This is your host, Kenny Primetime Williams. I miss each and every one of you. Look, we got just a little bit to talk about in sports world today because, during the summertime, around this time, there are it's called dead days. Just like you was in college, getting ready for a final. these are times in the sports world it's called dead days, but there's a little moving around going on. People getting richer, signing new contracts, moving on to different teams. Also, players are complaining. So this is the time of the year for the sports world where you hear all the soap operas and all the prima donnas and stuff that go on. So we're gonna get into it. But before I do all that, I want to give shouts out to everyone listening on the sound of my voice. Thank you. Shouts out to the Mississippi Gulf Coast area, Mobile, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, my hometown of Greenville, Mississippi. Thank everyone for tuning in on tonight. So let's get into it. We're going to jump into the NBA free agency. Now, there has been some big contract signings, and I'm talking about contract signings where you don't have to lift a finger no more for the rest of your life if you play your cards right. Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns signs a 4-year, $224 million deal. Awesome. Never had to do nothing but bounce a basketball and show up at work and play. Great deal. Also, Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies signed a 4-year, $226 million deal. Zion Williams, we all know Big Zion from come in playing for the New Orleans Pelicans, did not play an entire year. Sat at home. They made jokes about him. They said he has gained weight. Charles Barkley was on TNT saying he's gained weight. He's not in shape anymore. This young man has signed a 4-year, $190 million with the Pelicans for just sitting out a whole year. Now, if they can tell me where to do that, this is where I need a genie with a lamp, because I'm a rubber. I want to be his size, his ability, so I can go get this money. I don't know about all y'all, but I want to go get this money. Now, Damian Lillard also with the Portland Trail Blazers signed a 2-year, $122 million deal. I'm happy for those guys, though they're returning for those returning teams, but that's a lot of money. So I'm hoping they get back up there playing with their contract, and I'm pretty sure they can with all those guys. I know they're happy living life to the best of their ability. Now, to the crying part, Kevin Durant again wants to go to another team. He's can't get his way as always. He wants to leave Brooklyn, and he has his eyes set on Miami Heat or the Phoenix Suns. He is requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. He said he will not show up for any workouts or any training camps at all until he is traded. So the owners of the Brooklyn Nets are trying to work up a deal to get rid of Kevin Durant to send him to one of his best destinations that he has on his list. Speaking of the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving is on his way out and is looking for a destination to reunite with the king, LeBron James, in LA. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know how big that would be if Kyrie comes to LA and team up with LeBron. We can already say the Golden State Warriors will not win another championship behind that. So that's in the talks right now, and that's in the works. We're going to wait and see what happens with that. But big talks about getting it traded for Kyrie Irving, letting Russell Westbrook leave, head to Brooklyn. Now, some funny news to me. I don't know about y'all, and I don't know if you guys are football gurus like I am, but I don't know if you remember Le'Veon Bell. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, used to play for the New York Jets. Just was offered a new contract with the New York Jets worth $87 million. He turned it down and said he's not going to play in the NFL season. He is going to go in the gym and box like Apollo Creed. I don't know what to say behind all this, but he's scheduled to fight. This is the icing on the cake. He has set a matchup to fight at the Crypto.com Arena, July 30th in Los Angeles against Adrian Peterson. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is for real. You can Google it. I just cannot see this is happening. They need to make this pay-per-view. They need to make this satellite all over, played at the White House. This is the dumbest move I've ever seen. So he said he's not going to play. He's going to just focus on boxing, and he's going to fight whoever want to fight him. Your call, America. I don't know. But anyway, we have the top 10 list coming into the NFL season. For quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers topped out at number 1, and Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott topped out at number 10. The number 1 running back coming into the NFL season is Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry, and coming in number 2 would be Jonathan Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking forward to the NFL season coming in. I know I'm looking forward to it. Some great things going to happen, great teams, great action, great everything. Football to me brings family together, close, I think. I don't know. Football, family, fun. The 3 F's. But that's all I have time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for tuning in. Love you. I love you. I love you. One for the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Back to you, Mr. Ferman.
Appreciate it, Kenny. Thank you for the latest sports news and updates. Once again, we welcome everybody to another edition of Walking His Ways Impact Voice podcast tonight. Of course, we know it is July the 12th, 2022. Wherever you may be present at, if you're watching us on Facebook live streaming right now, once again, get them likes up, get those shares up, get the comments going. Big shout out to those who are listening in. Big shout out to those who are commenting right now. Big shout out to those who are sharing, of course. And once again, we got our featured guest for tonight, Mr. Rodney Watson II from my hometown, Mobile, Alabama, the financial GQ man himself. He always on point. He's sharp. He's stage dressed. He's about his business. He's about his purpose. And I love the fellas that are about their business, about their purpose. Men that are about setting their legacy. I said, and I stress that again, men, not males. And that's a whole nother topic. But I love how a man stepped up in the role. I know when I was growing up, my dad worked 2 full-time jobs. My mom didn't have to work. My dad worked 2 full-time jobs. He took care of family. The Bible said that the man is the provider. And I love to see men provide. I see this man is about changing his legacy forever, change the game forever when it comes to his family last name. Men, your last name is very important. I'm going to say that again. Men, your last name is very important. It's not about the ladies. It's about you being established as a man to get you to the, and not only that, but to pass on to your generation, your seed, especially if you have sons. You want your name to go on forever. And I just picked that up by Mr. Watson, that he's a man that's like that he's about changing the game forever. So, of course, straight into the podcast, you was with us a couple weeks ago. Introduce yourself once again to those who are watching us right now on Facebook Live. Mr. Rodney Watson II.
I actually want to step in because Rodney, not only is he my colleague, but he's my friend. So I'm very glad to have him on. And I am going to let him introduce himself. But I just wanted to start the podcast off because we always say Rodney, the financial guy, financial guru. And it just had my wheels turning. When you're a kid and people say you're a doctor, we get it. You help people who are sick. When you're a teacher, you help people learn things. And so when I was a kid, when I would hear things like engineer, broker, I was like, what do they actually do? And I thought this would be a good opportunity, Rodney. Sometimes people may be confused. What is your position and how do you serve?
Yeah, so I'm a financial broker. And what that means is I'm partnered with multiple different financial companies for different services. And that kind of allows me a competitive edge to make sure people are getting the best quality, the best product, the best price. Just kind of depends on everybody's situation because everybody's situation is different. But whether that means saving people's money on a mortgage or on auto and home insurance or life insurance or getting them a better quality product. Maybe that means helping them set up a budget or helping them create generational wealth through investments and insurance strategies. It's just, it's kind of broad. I do a lot of stuff, but the simplest way I explain it to people is that I literally create generational wealth for a living.
That's pretty powerful. So with you being able to do so many things in such a wide range in this industry that's growing, I would like to know, what do you think is like the biggest misconception when it comes to you and what you do for the public?
That is a scam. Where unfortunately we are so uneducated in business and finance that when something sounds really, really good, that phrase comes up, it sounds too good to be true, it must be. And I'm just like, it's not that it's too good to be true. It's beyond your level of comprehension or understanding at the time. So fortunately, me going to school for finance and economics, when I was presented with opportunities and, investment strategy and all this stuff, it didn't go over my head. I didn't think it was fake. You know what I mean? I've had times where I've taught people things and then they go say to somebody else and them tell me, but they was just like, that ain't real, that ain't true, all this type of stuff. And I'm like, I can pull up sources and facts. But it's just that, like I said, our lack of education is really preventing us from taking advantage of good opportunities and causing us to make a lot of bad mistakes. But that's definitely the biggest one.
And like I said, we know it's a lot to share. We know it's a lot of great information out there for people to accept, to apply, of course. And we know the nice episodes about how high achievers and mediocrity don't mix. I can tell that you're a man that's all about high achievement. I can tell you a man that's about working the spirit of excellence. And then my question to you is, how was it growing up in your house? We know that, the father in the house, so he set the standard. He expect the boys to take it to the next level. So how was it growing up in your household before you got to this point in your life?
Well, I will say this first. A lot of people coming up when I was a child, teenage years, everybody was like, man, your dad's so mean. But I was just like, I didn't really get it back then, but I'm glad he was so strict on me and stern, because I kind of recognized the difference between me and a lot of people, especially other men that didn't grow up with a dad. I really noticed that difference. Especially when I went into the military, when I did college, when I played sports. I just started recognizing the difference, and I didn't appreciate it back then when I was coming up, but I really appreciate it now. But my dad was very unsympathetic. He's just like, you got to figure it out, do what you're supposed to do. I don't care if you're crying. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if it don't make you happy. You have obligations. You got things you're supposed to do, and you're not going to be able to quit. Like I remember when I was a kid and I was struggling to learn how to read, and I got stuck on a word. That man made me sit there for like an hour and a half until I figured out the word. He did not give me the answer either. And what happens is people do this little protest thing where they trying to be the winner. But I was like, I was doing that to him, but I gave in and I ended up figuring out the word. And that was kind of my first lesson in life, that I could do stuff if I didn't give up or if I put in real effort. And then I'd have y'all on here for 2 hours if I went through every little story of that being an example, because that carried on to my teenage years. But my dad did not allow me to quit stuff. And he just he kept me from doing things that, was reckless. Shoot, I remember as a teenager, people think it's so crazy, but he gave me a drug test when I was like 15, 16 years old, trying to make sure I wasn't smoking or doing no crazy stuff. And I wasn't. I was too scared to, first of all, because I was like, if he catch me, boy. So I was just like, he was hard on me. And but like I said, me being where I am in life now, I make, in my city anyway, I make like 4 or 5 times the average income. I don't have any kids out of wedlock, not down in people who do. But I've just never made any really bad mistakes in my life. I've never done anything that caused any real big consequences. I know a lot of that came from him just kind of teaching me stuff. He talked to me a lot about things, and he pushed me, for grades. If I didn't get great grades, but he would really get on me if I got like bad grades or whatever. But it was just like, even with sports, I was not allowed to quit, and I was not allowed to not try hard. I'll say that, and that's carried me throughout adulthood.
And that's true, little blessing. And I know, me being a junior, I know the father's rises even harder because we share the same name as him. And we know that his name is very important. He wants that to carry on with his son, to take it to the next level. And I never understood that either when I was growing up. Like, what my dad hard on me for it? But then as I got older, I realized what he was doing because of his structure, his name, but also take it to another level. And I appreciate him for that as well, having that hardworking ethic being purpose driven, goal oriented, and just really just being that model citizen. I was never the type of dude that was influenced by drugs, alcohol, gang activity, none of that stuff. Because of fear, I was scared of my dad. I'm still scared of my dad. I'm 40 years old and I'm still scared of him. My mom too. Big shout out to my mother as well. But that structure of how your father, how you took that and implemented it into the business world. And big shout out to your dad as well, of course. So being in your household, having that structure, having that standard, you implement what your father did into your own household today?
Well, I don't have kids and I'm not married, so I'm the only person I got to deal with. So, I mean, it would be just me, but I definitely will say I know what I'm going to take from him to use when I do have kids. I know that much. I definitely would say that.
And also, Anna, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we were talking about legacy, of course, like with your last name, and we talk about legacy all the time, and especially we talk about impact. So, Rodney, I'm just curious for you to share what are some things that you want to leave behind as far as a legacy of Rodney Watson the second? What are some things that you want to, like key things that you want to leave?
I think the biggest thing is the example. I have an investment and insurance strategy that where the longer I live, the more generational wealth I create. Literally, like if I suck at life and just stick with the plan that I got set up, if I pass at age 80, I leave behind like $5 million. But even if even if I pass right now, my family would get like 1.2, 1.3 million, and I have it set up to where it pays off all debts, but the remaining balance gives them an income for the rest of their life, no matter how long they live, and the income is going to increase every year for the rest of their life or every other year. And I'm just like, of course, that would go to my dad and my sister right now until I have a family. But I want that to be an example, especially in the Black community, because I'm like, somebody needs to see that happen and see what the reward is of doing stuff like that, along with what I don't want people to deal with is the consequences of not doing it. But when it comes to my legacy, the biggest thing is, like I said, I want to be the example. I want for when I do have a son that he can look up at me and be like, all right, that's what a man is. And just like it is like with my dad, like I don't know how many people I've told the story to, but I was just like, my dad, I know what love is through my father. And as strict as everybody's like, he was so mean, but my dad genuinely loves me and my sister. He would die for us. He would, man, that dude worked. Now I didn't have a mom coming up, so I did have a stepmom for a time period, which I still love her. But I didn't get raised with a mom. I did have a grandmother and and aunties and stuff. But I remember he would work his tail off just to make sure me and my sister. I never didn't have a place to stay. I never didn't have food. There was never a time where, I was taken care of basically, and he would do whatever it took. Literally whatever it took. I remember when he was in the military, he came into port 12 hours away. He drove 12 hours just to spend one day with us and come and had to go right back. Like he would do anything, and I'm just like, that's the way I look at it. Like, and my dad told me I'm supposed to be better than him. He said each generation is supposed to get better. And you're supposed to start off where I left off. So I'm trying to do the same thing whenever I have kids, have them start off where I left off. And like I said, my dad's example is why I know what real genuine love is, because people say they love people, but and I'll say this, there was this time like me and my dad used to butt heads a lot when I was a teenager. And I remember I got so mad at him. I told him I hate him. Right. I got that mad. I told him I hate him. And he stopped for a second and said, well, I love you. And that's when I first started realizing that's what real love is, because genuine love does not require it to be received to give it. If somebody really loves somebody, they don't have to be loved to give that love. That's what real love is, because if you really think about, you have a newborn child, that child doesn't have the comprehension to love you, but you love that child, right? And babies are selfish, by the way. Kids are very selfish, right? So you're loving that child despite not being loved back. That's what real love is. That's what Jesus Christ did. You know what I'm saying? He loved, he wasn't being loved back. You feel me? So I don't even know how I got onto that, but basically, I want to be that example. I'm going to do the same thing for my kids that my father did for me. That protector, that provider, that giving them the foundation, that helping them start off where I started, making sure I guide them so that they're not making big mistakes in life. Like I said, I never made any really big mistakes, and I got to give that credit to my dad.
Man,
Man.
that's what's up right there, and it's powerful. And I just know that there's a time that God is reviving the men. The return of masculinity, men returning to their rightful place in the land, that leadership role. It was a lady crying out on Facebook Live about that the other day, and it was so powerful and just so confirmation how God is raising the men back up, men taking back over, men about leading their families, about taking the initiative, taking that lead role again, because the women were doing it for so long. And now the men are coming back to the forefront. So what is your take on that, Ryan, as the men are taking back the forefront in the leadership role, being where you single, married, father, you name it?
I don't know how everybody's gonna take this, but I think it's kind of one of those things where that's not all the men's fault, because the ladies got to allow a man to lead, the right one. So I'd be like, if you wouldn't let this man lead, if he's not valuable enough or worthy of the lead, why are you talking to him? That'd be the first thing in my mind. So I'm like, a lot of women are sitting there saying, man, men can't lead in this, that, and third, whatever trait they think that they don't have, they're not capable of. I'm just like, why won't you just talk to a man that is? Because there are plenty of them out there. But a lot of women just kind of want what they want. And unfortunately, I think a lot of women, this is going to make some people mad, I think they prefer being in control as opposed to being led. So they're going to talk to maybe lesser men that they can lead, that they can control. And I really think that more women will talk to a man that they can build up and control before they talk to a man that can build them up.
Shae, unmute, girl. I want to hear what you got to say about that.
That's just my perception.
I'm not saying right or wrong. I just want to hear my girl's opinion.
We call them beta males and simps.
That's deep. But that's deep. I like the perception that you gave on that, because I believe that to a certain degree on like both parties, right? Like in a sense, like everybody wants some type of control in a relationship, or they want to feel entitled to that person, right? But I think where it get out of control is where we feel like we own the ownership, the possessiveness that come with it. Like we feel like we own that person then because we belong to them, or they can't have their own thoughts. Like,
can I give you a perspective on that real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I will say, of course, nobody wants to feel that like they're being owned, but and I'm not married, but if that is my wife and my job is to protect and provide for her, she belongs to me, as in from the standpoint, I know it sounds weird, but what I mean is, but from the standpoint is, that's my job to protect and provide for her. I can't protect and provide for somebody that don't listen. You know what I'm saying? Or that don't want to follow me. It's like you're making my job hard. It's like, I don't know, like if I do mentor, like I mentor people in business, right? I can't save the folks who don't listen to me. They're going to tear their own self up, right? And because we're adults, I can't force them to do anything. They have to willingly listen to me, right? And if they do, a lot of them succeed. And the ones that don't, a lot of them don't succeed. So it's just like, because I can't force you, but it's just like, even to use Anna, for example, me and her have worked together. I'm looking like Anna's mine, and not from a mean standpoint, but like, they're my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm protecting her. I'm down for her. That's mine. You don't mess with mine type deal. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different perspective of looking at it, as opposed to I control you. You ain't allowed to talk unless spoken to. I think society has kind of, or even social media has kind of shifted it to being that side of it, because I'm just like, if that's your child, you'd be like, that's my child.
Yes. It have a
I'm you.
mission. like these in 2022, submission has such a negative connotation.
Right.
To the point where people don't want to submit, people don't want to get married no more.
Right.
People like, it's scary. Like, and just like you said, when a woman hears submit, now she think of a person being in control. She think of somebody telling her what to do. She thinks she has no voice. But that's because of the stereotype that's painted.
Right. Exactly. Society did that, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm submissive too. Like I was submissive to my father. I was submissive to my mentor. You know, I had to willingly, and to submit means to let somebody else tell you. It is letting somebody else tell you what to do. Right now, again, that's why I mentioned earlier, if you don't think he's worth you leading, why are you talking to him? And if he is worth letting you lead, why won't you let him do it? So it's just like, to use my dad, for example, my dad has an invested interest in my success. He loves me, right? He has never told me to do anything, and then it resulted in my being hurt in any way. Same thing with my mentor. It doesn't make sense not to listen to him. You feel what I'm saying? But that is me submitting to my mentor, submitting to my father. So when a woman is submissive to a man, what that is really saying is, I trust you, I respect you, and I'm willing to follow your guidance. I believe in you. That's like, to me, submission to a man is the ultimate compliment a woman can give beside bearing his child. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, it's all, words have different meaning to different people. People have different perceptions of behavior, all that type of stuff. And I just think that they have taken specific words and construed it into something negative, so that when somebody hears it, they go into attack mode or defense mode or whatever.
It turns into a trigger word now. Like, it's a trigger word. Like, because like now, submission to men mean more sex, being more sexually available. It don't mean what you just said.
Yes, because I definitely want to
mean that.
I want to definitely speak on it as a married woman, because I see so many different point of views, and I just want to say, you know, that's why I was like, everybody unmute, because I feel like this is a good topic when we're talking about leadership, leading households. It can relate to so many different dynamics, right? So when I heard him say, you know, we're talking about, you want to submit to someone who's able to lead, I totally agree, because a lot of people give Black women the stereotype of, we're difficult, we're argumentative, we're alpha females, we want to rule and boss. But also keep in mind, whatever stereotypes there are about Black women, Black men, white women, that does not go for every single individual or every single situation, because I honestly believe no matter how strong a woman is, if the right person is leading and they show that they are capable, competent, and able to lead, that woman will let the man, they'll let that person lead them, right?
Hey.
And so, yeah, when I hear people say, well, a lot of times women want to be in control, so they choose a lesser man. A lot of times we have not had an example of a man capable and competent enough to lead. So we be like, hold on, I don't want to mess things up. I'm going to just make the decision. I'm going to let it be on me, because we see our parents, it's all on them. So, you know, you only know what you know. So it has to.
If I could add to that, I think that was a very good point, because just like you said, they don't have the example of somebody who leading. A lot of women, their father did not do right by them. You know what I'm saying? Or they did talk to a dude that they probably shouldn't have. They were submissive towards him. He dogged her out. You know, so I completely understand that. But what I will add to this, here's another flip side of that, where after so many years of being that way, they can come across the absolute best guy and just have the habit of not being submissive, and they can't break it. You know what I'm saying? So, because right, because just myself, for example, I feel like I'm more than worthy of the lead. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, like I said, I've never made any really bad decisions. I'm doing well financially. I've progressed and done well in pretty much everything I've worked towards. If I'm not worthy of the lead, I don't know who is, personally. So I'm just like, I don't get it. But even I go through those situations where they just won't listen, and they'll think highly of me and still not listen. I know it's because they have the habit.
But the thing is, if we're able to acknowledge that, are we going to be patient enough to help that person grow? Because it's just like if you've been speaking Spanish your whole life and you move to America, are we going to be patient enough to teach them and let them learn English? Like, are we going to be, as a leader of the household, are we going to be patient enough to say, I can see the triggers, I can see the trauma, and I love you enough to work with you through this? Because we stay with y'all and work with y'all through it.
Hey, and don't get me wrong. Hey, time out.
Well, I'm you know what? Go ahead. Now
I'm gonna say something with that because
I got a question too.
Because here's the thing, you know how you said, Andy, you said y'all work with us through it. That is to an extent, of course, because y'all get really mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically abused trying to work them through that stuff, and you can't make them do it. That same thing happens in reverse with us, where we have these, you know, the stereotypical type situation where she's aggressive, she's loud, she won't listen, she blah, 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 all this type of little stuff, and it becomes an abusive relationship for me. So it's just like, how long do I tolerate that or stick with her thinking or hoping that she's going to change? And the thing is, if it's tolerated, there usually isn't a change. So, you know, so it's kind of like what has to happen is she has to acknowledge and recognize what she has presented in front of her and say, hey, I have a real man, and say, I got to get my stuff right and, you know, learn how to do this right. And really, it's not even that hard for real. It's just as much as maybe simple as think before you speak or ask questions instead of assuming. Yeah, it's like it's really hard.
Okay, look, my big question is, do alpha and alpha go together? Yeah. Or a person have to be an alpha and a beta?
No, like, what do you think?
Alpha go, beta and beta go.
I'll say alpha and alpha can go together, alpha and beta can go together.
What you think, Kenny? I see you shaking your head.
No, ma'am.
What you think, Kenny?
No, I look.
What you think? Because look, y'all, because this my thing. I'm tired of y'all trying to give beta males a bad name.
No, hold up.
I'm tired of y'all putting it a beta male.
Let's define beta male first of all.
No, hold up.
Can we define beta male? Before we over here talking about stuff we don't know what we all talk.
I don't have the definition to that.
Because when I hear beta male,
Kenny, what do you think about that?
I just think if you trust God, everything will be all right.
I do. Ferman, what do you think about that?
You gotta be your own man. And when they say beta's a one that's gonna be submissive to the woman. He's gonna y'all. I'm gonna say this. Y'all don't want no yes man. Y'all don't want a man to tell you yes all the time. That's boring to y'all. You at least want him to say no once in a while, not always like yes baby, yes baby. Like, man, speak your mind. I want you to say no, and that's a beta. Beta gonna agree with you whether you wrong or right. He gonna go along with you.
Beta males don't have the respect of other males either. That, by the way.
And then a man gonna say no. If he's not in, he gonna say, baby, it's not time. We're gonna have to wait. He's not finna say yes, dear, yes, dear. You want that man to take the initiative. You don't want a beta, because beta, you're not gonna really respect a beta male because he jelly bag. And I talk to women. Women say they don't like a guy like that. They don't like a guy that's weak. They want a guy to take the lead and don't be weak. If they feel you weak, they're gonna run over you. And some women do that.
But see, I don't mind a sweet person. Like, I don't mind that. And I don't mind a beta male.
I don't associate beta with kindness though.
It's weak. That's weak.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, that don't mean I feel like women use beta males as a person to take advantage of, and I feel like that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't do that. Like, because you know that person is like that, they don't give you the right to take advantage.
Well, Shae, I don't fault the woman. I don't fault the woman, Shae.
Personality. If that's their personality, if that's that person, just like if a person is alpha, that's their personality. Well, that's something that they can't change. Like, what you want them to be mean and aggressive and just change entirely?
That's the thing right there. We're associating alpha and beta with kindness and aggression, as opposed to leadership and you know what I'm saying, in the letting somebody else lead type of situation. You feel me? So
Because
it's just like,
that's how they categorize somebody being a simp. They feel like if a man being a simp, then he being too kind, he being
bro,
clean,
that ain't what
or
it is to
he
me.
being
No,
Oh,
So
no.
I'm gonna tell you what'll make me call a person a simp is if you are actively talking to multiple dudes in front of his face and he's still steady chasing behind you. You have not expressed interest towards him.
Right,
And he's
fact.
still
That's
chasing
fact.
behind you.
That's fact.
Or you have gotten him to give you money. You've done nothing for him and not even trying to, and he just keep on coming. He's a simp.
Yeah.
He is
they
basically
consider Russell Wilson a simp, and he's married to this woman.
that's
I
not
personally don't
inaccurate.
consider him a simp.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
I don't consider
that's
Russell
a
Wilson a
mix
simp.
of opinions, you know. And
That's like crazy.
when you're speaking of that, I'm glad you said that, because we said a few key words. We talked about leadership, we talked about alpha personalities, and we talked about mindset, right? Because sometimes we let what we've been through, trauma and triggers, keep us in the same position, right? Where we're not able to get the leadership and the guidance that we need to be exalted. Because at the end of the day, you know, your spouse, your husband, the man, whomever is the head of the household, but you're the one who, the queen is being exalted. Because if y'all play chess, y'all know the queen is actually the most powerful piece on the board. But with all that being said, when I think about mindset, when I think about leadership, what I think about is how we need to change some of these ideas that we have, and not just with the household, our upbringing, but with our finances. I feel like our mindset is keeping us limited, where we can't receive when people are trying to teach us things to empower us and make us better. Like we're not able to believe that we're worth and worthy of more. So, Rodney, what advice do you give people when you tell them what's possible, but they think they have these limits on wealth? What do you think about what do you think about mindset shifts?
Yeah, so I think what the first thing you have to change your association, because your thought process, belief, all that stuff has been brainwashed in you for all these years, childhood all up the way up to adulthood. And so you have to change your association, and you have to be willing to be not the smartest person in the room, not the most successful person in the room. You got to be willing to be the small dog, and you know, and have bigger people around you. And just be okay with that. And it's going to be uncomfortable, right? You're not going to be, you know, as confident as you normally were. But just like when I remember when I ran track in the 10th grade, I was the slowest person on the team. The next year, I was the fastest person on the team. And it wasn't because, you know, I just have such great genetics. Running with people that were faster than me made me faster. Working out in the weight room with people, like I was a receiver working out with like linebackers and D line and all that type of little stuff. They were all strong. I was the weakest person, but I got very strong because I was around people who were stronger than me. They pushed me. They made me do that extra rep. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep up with them, and it made me better. So it's like it's the same thing when it comes to the building wealth, and you have to get in that room where people are better than you, where they know more than you, they've accomplished more than you. That's one thing. The other thing is to not perceive yourself or them as better than you and you as lesser than them, as opposed to like, I just looked at it. I remember when I kind of got in that situation, I looked at it like, okay, they're not better than me. They just know stuff I haven't. I don't know yet. They've experienced things I haven't. And they, you know, I just need to learn what they learn. But I'm no better than them. You know what I'm saying? I just need to get on their level. It's just like, that's the way you got to have that mindset about that. You're not better than anybody else. Nobody else is better than you. So if somebody else can accomplish that, you can too, but be willing to be bad for a little while. Be willing to not be so great at it. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to not be the perfect or be the biggest dog in the cage. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And it's gonna help grow you and groom you.
If you had to,
Mhm.
if you had to tell somebody who's a beginner, like just beginning, and they say, I want to get my finances together, what would you say is the absolute very first step to creating wealth?
But let me finish this last part about that other question. I want you to ask me that again because I'm gonna forget if I don't say it. But The last thing with the other question was to be submissive, like we talked about earlier. And I don't even want to, you don't have to use that word, but basically find somebody to mentor you and do what they tell you. Just follow their lead. You know what I'm saying? They already got the blueprint. They already did it before. Just follow directions. Build a personal relationship with them. So, matter of fact, befriend them and build that trust so that you can be more willing to follow, so you know and trust them. But just follow somebody else's lead that has already had the success you're looking for and all that type of stuff. But ask me the other question again, Anna.
What do you think for a beginner is the very first step in creating wealth?
I think acknowledging that you don't know and that you don't have it.
That's
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you would suggest for them to do?
Now, it depends on how they're trying to build wealth or what their ultimate goal is, because I'm just like, wealth can be built quickly or over time. It can be built passively and actively, meaning active income is you actually doing the work and making it happen, and passive is it just grows over time without you participating. So, for example, if we use real estate or stock market as an example of wealth building strategies, let's say flipping a house is active income. You are doing these contractors, paying them to do this, XYZ, or maybe you're doing the work, but you're basically going to go flip that property. You paid, I don't know, 50,000 for it. You sold it for 100, whatever the case might be. So you got your $50,000 profit. That's active income. That's you working. A rental property is passive. Yeah, you might have put some money in, but it's passive income for the most part anyway, because you just got that steady stream of income. It builds up over time. Same thing with the stock market. People doing options and day trading and all that type of stuff. That is active income. You're doing the work. Passive is more so ETFs, mutual funds, index funds. You know what I'm saying? It grows over time. So wealth can be built either one of those ways. But if you want to build wealth quickly, you have to be an entrepreneur. If you don't want to get rich that quick, but you want to get wealthy at some point and you ain't willing to do all that work, that's okay. But you have to do the passive, which is the mutual funds, the rental property, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it can be gotten either one of those ways. But are you willing to take the one that takes a little time, but is significantly easier? Are you willing to make the sacrifices and be uncomfortable and take risks for the opportunity, not the guarantee, but the opportunity to make it happen now or soon? So it kind of.
I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about what you want to do. If you're willing to be able to take it to that level or not. And then some people want it, some people don't want it. But it's really, at the end of the day, it's really up to you whether you want to or not, to be able to take it to the next level and to admit, hey, where I need to be at, where I'm going, where I'm heading at. When you think of, and I'm asking this to you, Rodney, when you think of high achiever, what's the first word come to mind to you?
Always trying to be your absolute best in whatever you're doing. I think that most people don't give 100% in hardly anything, really. They kind of will put a little bit of effort in, but they don't give 100% because they want to be able to say if it don't work out, well, I didn't really try that hard anyway. That wasn't what I wanted to do. They go ahead and giving themselves an excuse.
Right.
They don't want to deal with the emotional trauma that comes with potential failure, giving something all you got, not realizing that failure is something you can learn and grow from.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I say about that.
I think that's the biggest lesson I'm learning right now as an entrepreneur. Like, you gonna have them rough patches and it's gonna be them times, but you gotta really decide. Like, when you become an entrepreneur, you have to really decide if you in it for the long game or not. Like, it's either you in it for the long game or you're gonna be shut down in the first couple of years of business. Because that's really how I'm looking at it right now.
A lot of people look at entrepreneurship as a way to create an easy life, but it actually is harder. It can eventually turn easy, but in that growing stage, it's harder than a typical job is. It requires more of you than a typical job would. But once you kind of get past that threshold and you built your system, it's self-sufficient, doesn't require you anymore, which if you remember I talked about last time, most people are they're trying to be entrepreneurs. What they really are self-employed. They're not really business owners because business owners don't need to work or be there for it to still run.
That's true.
So what they'll do is be self-employed because they think it being that's going to create the easier life, but it's actually, like I said, it can be harder. So it's like building that business to make it self-sufficient is a difficult thing. But once you get there, then life becomes very easy. But is a person willing to push through that and go through the process of building something that doesn't require their time or effort? You know what I'm saying? Handing over, their knowledge and skills to other people, train and develop somebody else, and pay people for stuff or whatever the case might be.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's important with that. You gotta have, I know you got a CEO, you gotta have a president, vice president, secretary, general managers, all the other
Some
stuff.
people try to do all that and be all those things themselves, and that's why they don't ever experience a higher level of success. It's
Right.
like you talk about Nick Saban. He the one that everybody hears about, but he got a offense coordinator, defense coordinator. He's got special teams coordinator. He's got these assistant coaches, all this type of little stuff. He built him. The reason he's such a big coach is because he also recruited the right people, whether that be other coaches or whether that be players.
Fact.
So he's not all doing it himself. And matter of fact, if he was to go down, I bet you the team could still win fairly decently, just because he's put a system in place that folks can follow, and the coaches should know how to follow, even if he's not there.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
Mhm.
Sharing the role. A lot of people feel intimidated about sharing the role with other people because we can't do everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's other people that's gifted and talented in them areas that we complement one another. Like, okay, this person you may not be good at wealth development, but this person's good at wealth development. But then we get that fear, oh, I don't want them to come on in because they might take this from me. But willing to let that person come in, do their thing, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit everybody. So what you say about that, people being so selfish, of being afraid to let other people come in to help them get to that place where they need to be at?
That's more than one thing. One side of that is, in fact, they don't want to have to pay other people. They want to keep all the money for themselves. But what they don't realize, I think it was Zig Ziglar that said this: it's better to make 1% off of 100 people's effort than it is to make 100% off of one person's effort, meaning your own. What you can get done by yourself is significantly less than what a multitude of people can get done. So it's just like them wanting to, I don't want to have to pay nobody, or I don't want to, I'm like, that's just holding you back in business, not spreading that out. The other thing is folks are, I think they're afraid of someone maybe surpassing them in knowledge and skill. They want to be considered the top person. You know what I'm saying? They want to be that guy or that girl or whatever. And again, that's hurting them because some of the most successful people hire people smarter than them.
Right.
But there's another thing that's in there, and I think this is the worst one, which is where people are so prideful, they want to be able to say, I did it all by myself, I got it out the mud, you know what I'm saying? And they don't want to have to tell somebody else thank you. They don't want to have to, some people are like, well, I did it all myself, I didn't need no help, blah, 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 this and that. And they won't accept help because they don't want to feel like they owe somebody something. So it's just like, you'd rather be broke and do it on your own than become wealthy and say thank you. It's stupid.
Right.
But I've watched it. I've seen that in my line of work. I've seen it in other people's line of work. I've seen it in people's household. It's dumb. You don't want to have to show gratitude to somebody, probably because you don't like them. Maybe they made you mad or whatever the case. I don't know. It could be anything. But that's unwillingness to admit you need help, accept help, and acknowledge other people's specific role in your life and how they helped you. That's killing a lot of people.
It is. And everybody has something different they bring to the table. You just have to humble yourself and allow them. Like I said, I'm a Cowboys fan, and everybody know how Jerry Jones is. But
example, he want to be the man.
Yeah, because back in the 90s, he had Jimmy in. They winning Super Bowls. Jerry wanted to be the center of attention instead of letting Jimmy do his thing. The Cowboys would have had more Super Bowls in the 90s back in the day if they would allow Jimmy do his thing. Because at the end of the day, you still going to benefit from it. You look at Robert Kraft with New England. he don't tell Belichick what to do. He let Belichick run football operations because he's qualified to do that, just like with the University of Alabama. They have Nick Saban run the football operation. Why? He's qualified. At the end of the day, that university makes millions of dollars. And they're not going to, why? They hire Nick Saban. He knows what he's doing. They're going to step back. Because at the end of the day, they're going to benefit from it anyway. It's not about being seen.
Yeah.
Man, you said something. It's really what I'm hearing is one that stuck out to me. Are you a business owner or just self-employed? And then the next thing I heard was if you want to take it to the next level, you're going to need a team. Now,
Yeah.
Shae, I know you can relate to this. We hear it all the time in pop culture where some people be like, oh, she had a machine behind her. You know, so that's why she's more successful. That's why she's more popular. She had people helping her with her videos, her hair, her makeup, her styling, she had a team, and she went further than some people who are doing it independently. Not to knock the talents or effort of that independent artist, but it's just look at the power of having a team. What you can do with a group of people, you can excel, you can elevate, you can do more. So if you want to take it to the next level, everybody, the secret is the next level is going to require a team. It's going to require for you to power up with other individuals and put your pride aside and say, we can do more together. Because some people feel uncomfortable when they hear the word recruit, collaborate, because instead they're thinking competition, right? So I thought, baby, y'all said some stuff tonight. Tonight we had some really good conversation.
I say my other big takeaway for me had to be proximity, like your people you surround yourself with. And I was literally listening to one of my favorite business coaches on Facebook today talk about if the people that you surrounded yourself with haven't did anything miraculous in the last 6 to 8 months, it's about time to change that circle. So I was like about to hit I was like about to hit the flow because I'm like, everybody around you should be pouring so much value into you, or you should be able to provide so much value for the people around you. And the people that aren't able to do that for you, those people do have to exit. They do have to go. We need, like you said, we need miraculous. We need more people like Anna and more people like Anna is finna take over Alabama. Like I tell everybody about Anna. And I'm way over here.
Hey, though, if I could add something,
somebody starts talking about finances, I'm going to tell them, well, hey, I know somebody. If you're really serious about it, because wow, the proximity, right? The people I'm surrounding myself with are going to be wealthy. They're wealthy. So what happens to me next? I'm going to be wealthy. So y'all have to pay attention to this now. Pay attention to people sitting on the panel. Pay attention to the people that we're becoming in proximity with, because this is where your next level comes from. The proximity. That's the key word.
Proximity and exposure. Rodney, what were you about to say?
I want to just add something to that point where, you know, something I've told a lot of people, and some folks take offense to it and some folks kind of disrespect it, is there are a specific type of people I pursue time with, I accept time with, and that I don't spend time with. And so it's just like the folks I pursue time with are folks who know things I don't, have things I haven't, don't have accomplished things I want to accomplish. I pursue time with those people. For example, there's a guy that's a big investment guy named Lester Jones. I pursue time with him, right? I even paid to go to his investment courses. You know what I'm saying? But he's big dog, right? He OG in my mind. So I'd be like, hey, I'm a come follow your lead, and I'm even willing to pay you for your time, right? And drive freaking 300, 400 miles. You know what I'm saying? So I pursue time with those, or this dude Gary Cornegay, or like I've driven or spent time or even paid for time with these successful people. The other thing is the other type of people I will pursue time or spend time with is folks that can sharpen me too, but I can sharpen them. So it's just like iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? Like somebody that I can help grow, but they can help me grow, and we just helping each other. So the first thing I said was the people that I can't do nothing for these guys. Really, they don't get nothing out of talking to me for real, but I get a lot from them, and I'm willing to pursue time with them, and I pay homage and thank them for their time. That's another reason why a lot of people don't elevate. They have this issue or this pride issue where they don't want to respect people above them or that are higher levels in them. And so it's just like, why would this person give you your time, give you their time, and you don't even respect them, or you don't even have gratitude towards their sacrifice of time to you? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this dude that I was just talking about make like $500,000, $600,000 a year. Spending time with me costs him money. You know what I'm saying? Why would he stop to talk to me unless I'm respectful and thankful of of the opportunity to speak to him? A lot of people are like, man, you kissing butt. I'm like, bro, that's pride talking, bro. I don't care about none of that, because me learning from these people has elevated me. Like I said, then the other one is the iron sharpens iron. Somebody that I can learn from, somebody that can learn from me, and we over here exchanging knowledge, we challenging each other. We are even competing, but friendly. You know what I mean? Like when I played sports, my closest friends were also the people I competed against every day. We made each other better, right? And we looked out for each other at the same time. So it wasn't a bad competition. But the people that I spend the least amount of time with, but I will spend time with, and those are who are willing to follow me and listen to me. They're trying to learn from me. You feel me? So it's just like, I had the guys that I'm trying to pursue them because I'm trying to learn from them. I got the people that I can learn from and that they can learn from me. And then there's the people that maybe I can't learn nothing or get nothing out of them, but again, they're respectful towards me and they're willing to follow and listen. If they are not in those three categories, you are not finna get much of my time.
Was pursue, spend, and what was the third one?
That are willing to follow me. I don't know what categories you put those in, but the people I pursue their time because they're at a higher position that I'm trying to get to. The people that we can, that iron sharpens iron, we help each other, and then the people that are willing to follow. If you're not one of those three people, I am not going to spend time with you. Why would I? Now, I might on the fun tip, maybe we might have a stage night. Maybe we had a cookout. Maybe we had a get together. It was a party. But if you're not in those three categories, I'm not going to spend extensive time. I'll spend a little time, but that just was for maybe entertainment or fun purposes, whatever. Besides that, we ain't finna talk a whole lot.
Well, that's
proximity, exposure, paying attention to where you spend your time, being around other people who can help you elevate and take it to the next level. Ferman, what were you about to say?
The time is important. And
you can't get it back.
Yeah, I'm that dude that do not waste my time. You waste my time, I'm cutting you off, because time is value, and that's time you can't get back. That's going into a relationship. If you ever get with somebody, make sure this person not wasting your time. We don't value ourselves enough. That's why we allow people to come in, waste our time, take all this stuff from us, because we don't set the standard. You got to set the standard. You got to protect your kingdom. Just like Anna, you got to protect your kingdom. Shae got to protect your kingdom. Right, got to protect your kingdom. Kenny as well. We got to protect our kingdom. Do not let nobody come into your kingdom. Do not let nobody waste your time, especially when you're going somewhere. If that person can help you and add to your arsenal, cool. If they can't, do not let people waste your time, because some people just don't want to do anything in life. They're not living, they're existing. It's the two, knowing the difference between the two.
Let me add something to that real quick.
Go ahead.
What I don't want people to have the perception of is that I only spend time with people that I can gain from. Because I want you to notice in two of those categories of the three was some me giving. Right? Okay, so in the iron sharpens iron, yeah, I'm receiving, but I'm giving too. And for the folks who are following, I'm giving. So don't think that giving is a waste of time, because what happens is if you bless other people, you get blessed too. It might not, the reward might not come from them, but it'll come from God. So it's just like the same way you wanted help and guidance and somebody to lift you up and teach you, and you know what I'm saying, do that for somebody else too. But like I said, if they're not willing to follow and they're not listening, that's when you gotta be like, all right, well, still be nice to them, but I'm just not going to spend much time with you, because that is a waste of time. You asking for my time, you don't even want to listen to me, but I can't get nothing out of you, but you don't even want to listen to what I'm trying to give you. I'm trying to bless your life and you won't even listen. So then you might have to, then it's one of those types of situations. But I feel like you are supposed to be, give some of that time to those who will respect it and appreciate it, that are willing to learn.
I'm gonna ask both of y'all this question, and I know dealing with recruiting and stuff like that. Have you ever came to the point where you just completely cut somebody out that you knew they were wasting your time?
Well, I'm gonna go first because Rodney, he's a phenomenal leader, and I'm a baby leader, right? So that means I'm still growing. So when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to people wasting your time, things like that, I don't cut people off. That does not mean that I'm going to become stagnant, stale, and I stop moving because you're not moving. I'm going to keep my wheels turning. I'm going to keep producing. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep growing. I'm never going to turn my back on you, but I can't stop running, waiting for you. I'm just going to keep on going, and I'm going to leave clues and pray that you catch up. And when you're ready, I'll grab your hand, but I'm not about to let you slow me down. So we got to keep it moving. So a lot of times people be like, oh, cut them off, just be real cold. We don't have to cut people off to progress. We can set healthy boundaries. We can keep it moving. We can still be respectful because it may not be their time. Everybody's season is different. If I'm a watermelon and you are orange, we may, grow at different seasons. I don't know what seasons they grow. So when it comes to recruiting, there are people, it's not necessarily I cut them off, but I'm going to keep it moving. And if you come back, I'm going to welcome you back with open arms, but I'm not going to keep letting you make the same mistakes.
But what I would say is, so you have people who make excuses. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Well, you got people say they can't do this, they can't do that. It don't take all that. That's the kind of people I'm talking about, because you got
I
people.
don't pay people that no attention. What you say, Rod?
So I actually, Anna, you actually said pretty much the same thing I would have said in a different way. So we ain't that far off from each other because I kind of agree. I do agree. I don't burn that bridge with them either. I don't cut nobody off. They'll cut themselves. They'll cut me off before I cut them off. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when we talked about the title of the podcast, or this one, mediocre people don't like high achievers don't like mediocre people. I'm more accepting of a mediocre person than a mediocre person is accepting of me. So I'll just have these little standards, and I might push them a little bit, challenge them. And if they don't want to grow, they'll remove themselves from me.
That's true.
So I don't have to cut anybody off, and I'm not, because I want them to grow. And I just, as Anna said, my arms are still open whenever your mind shifts. And unfortunately, maybe that means they might have to go through a little hell in life for their mindset to shift. Because if you can't learn through mentorship, then you have to learn through experience, and that's the hard way. So it's just like, but I want them to still feel good enough and comfortable with me that they can still come to me, So I be forgiven very easily. Some folks do things to me, and I just let it go. And it ain't because I'm letting them run me over. But like I said, me giving and doing for other people, my reward ain't always going to come from that person. It's going to come through God. So that allows me mentally and emotionally to still be a giver and still be there for folks, even though they particularly might not be giving back to me. But of course, is there limits? Sure. But like I said, I don't necessarily cut nobody off unless they just did something so outrageously bad. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe. But nah, man, if we over here, which I know Anna's like this too, is we're about advancing the community, growing people, helping folks. You can't discard folks because of their weak moments or their, lack in that time frame, or whatever the case might be. People change, people grow, and sometimes they don't. But just still treat people good, and you never know what happened. You might be the only person who was nice to that person.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, because I came from corporate America, and I would tell folks this all the time. I did not fire them. They fired themselves, right? And so it's not necessarily that I'm cutting you off or letting you go. And that goes with like discipline, with training, with scolding. Like sometimes when you set some boundaries, when you tell somebody, hey, that's not necessarily right, nobody likes to be reprimanded or criticized or critiqued. So sometimes it don't feel that good. But mature and wise people, they're able to see what happened and they come back around. So, I don't hold grudges. I love my people, but we gotta keep it moving, and we gotta keep it growing. And everybody won't come back around. Every seed will not produce fruit, but that's not up to us. But, we just plant them, and God decides which ones grow.
Hey, Ferman, I got probably another 7-8 minutes I can stay on here.
Okay, go ahead.
You got any final questions you have for me before I dip?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to. I know we were already in the 7th month of 2022, of course. So what goals you have that you want to finish out for the rest of this year?
I have some income goals. I have some goals to get a few more licenses.
Okay.
I want to have a certain amount of assets under management for investments. And I want to help another 2 to 4 people become financial brokers. Like I do train and develop other people.
Okay.
And really just kind of set the stage for being as big an impact long term as I can be, and just keep on growing. Just a lot of it is personal growth for myself and the people that I train and mentor. You know, but that's basically what it is. It's like I got personal goals, but I got goals for the people I work with and all that stuff too.
And that's what's up. Like I said, I love goal-oriented people. I love people that's about their purpose. I love people that's about the grind, because the grind is real. And it's not for everybody. You know, that's another thing too. Everything is not for everybody. And everybody has to find their own pathway in life, you know, and you wish people the best and they fit your endeavors. That's what another thing I want to implement on that too. If, hey, this is not for you, find something that you're good at, find something you're comfortable with, where you can excel, because it's not for everybody. So always find your pathway in life. I know we press for time, of course, Rodney. So Shae, Hannah, Kenny, y'all have anything y'all want to ask our guests for before we're ready to get up there?
No, always such a pleasure having you, Rodney. It's always such a pleasure. You're very informative, and just appreciate you coming on the podcast the second go around.
I'm a student. That's why I remain silent and I pay attention. But very good quality and very great information. Always a great time being with you, Mr. Rodney. I'm glad to have you on the show, and we look forward to doing a lot of more things with you. Definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. You guys, it was another great episode. Okay, we had some great conversations, and I want y'all to put what you got out of this conversation, put it in the chat, whatever stood out. What was your favorite part? Make sure y'all putting that in the chat. Make sure you share this episode with your family and friends. Y'all can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Anchor, and Spotify. Okay, we doing it big over here all across the Gulf Coast, Dallas, Ocean Springs, Mobile. We got it going on. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. Rodney, thank you. Ferman, thank you. Shae, Penny, thank y'all.
Can I hear from each of you guys just real quick, top takeaway from everything I talked about?
Oh, for me, it was that was like the reminder for me.
Say that again, Shae.
The proximity, like being in proximity with people and pursuing time with people and I'm doing that this weekend. I'm getting trained by UFC contender Stephen Wynn. So I am about to take my game to a whole nother
level.
So
what I got out of it is mostly when you were talking about the dads and how you can set yourself up for things to happen in the near future, that you never can quit and that you have no room to do that. That was very inspiring for me. And a lot more, not just this episode, but the first one, the other one you was on, with financial growth and financial wealth and doing the things that can prepare you for the near future so you won't come to hiccups and heartaches. So that's what I got out of it. And it's very inspiring, very great advice to give.
Thank you.
I got out of it just growth, elevation, evolving, always be open-minded, always maneuver your way through life in order to excel. That's what I got out of it tonight.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I just always like to hear. I'll be like, I don't know how people perceive anything I say until they tell it. But all right, y'all, I'm gone. But thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys having me. I enjoyed it. And till next time, all right?
Hey, Rodney.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, my Facebook is Rodney Watson II. As far as I know, I'm the only person in the entire United States with the Facebook page with the Roman numeral 2 after Rodney Watson. My IG is Rodney the Real Deal Watson. It's like Rodney _ the Real Deal Watson or something like that. I don't even remember. But other than that, if you reach out to me, I don't want to put my phone number out here like that, but I'm like, y'all reach out to me on Facebook. I don't mind, giving my contact information out and exchanging numbers. It's cool with me.
Yeah, most definitely. We appreciate you again, Rodney, for taking time out your busy schedule to hang out with us here on the podcast. And we want everybody to have a great night, of course. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching us on Facebook Live. Big shout out to those who are leaving comments in the comment section, of course. And most definitely, we're going to be back here Saturday night. I'll be doing a special edition Saturday Night Live. Of course, it's going to be dealing with male and female interaction. I got a lot of great guests that's going to be on the panel. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be talked about, discussed, and hopefully learn from. Also, Friday night, I'll be part of the Men Conversation with Miss Miller on her platform. This Friday night is going to be live streaming, I think, on YouTube and Facebook Live, of course. I'm excited about being part of that panel with her and many other men. So, like I said, there's some great conversations taking place this weekend. So, we want everybody to have a great night. And also, man, give a big shout out to Anna, Shae, Kenny. If you have any information, you have any concerns, anything you want to see added to the show, get with them. Anything you want them to bring up on the podcast within their segment, get with them, of course. And like I said, we want to hear from everybody. Those that's live streaming, watching the live streaming right now, and those who leave in the comments. And we want to hear from y'all. We want to get some feedback from y'all. We want to elevate. We want to grow. And what they want to talk about here on the podcast. We know we do a lot of interviews, but we want to bring some social issues, of course, to the podcast. So we love to hear from y'all. So, gang, y'all have anything y'all want to add before we get off the air tonight? Anything you want to?
No, it's been a pleasure.
Cool beans. Cool beans. So we want y'all to have a blessed night. Enjoy the rest of your night. Remember, toast yourself, tell yourself, look yourself in the mirror, take your favorite drink, look at yourself once again, toast yourself, tell yourself, I believe in you. Tell yourself, we're going to make it. Tell yourself that you're unstoppable. Tell yourself you're untouchable. Tell yourself that you're more than that and all in the bag of shit. Tell yourself that you're a billionaire. Tell yourself you're a millionaire. Salute yourself, believe in yourself, and tell yourself, I'm going to ride with you to the end. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace, everybody.
Peace.